I am currently getting wardrobe for Go Gentle. Matt Wallace writes in this amazing real fantasy space. Think kind of like Tim Burton's Batman, the original one, not the sequels, which rapidly got weirder and worse. It's a beautiful space. It's kind of almost like magical realism, a little bit. But I, as a director, am very grounded in reality. So Matt Wallace came up with these guys, I don't want to say they're villains, they're more just like cause and effect acts of nature called a blood cult. They're the people who initiate. They're it's not a call to action. It's this event that happens, this triggering event that causes the story to come into motion. The word blood cult was written. They're cultists, they drink blood, that's kind of their thing. And they do other bad things. I want to ground them in reality. And part of that is, what do they look like? What do they wear? I want them to be kind of poor, like the cult is at the end of its line financially and running out of people and motivation. But they also need to look good. So today's quest is to find, like, what do they look like? What do they wear? I want their suits to look classy, but like also not. So my hope is to get suits from Hugo Boss. I'm about to have that conversation later today, continue it rather, and to have these crimson ties, blood red ties, and ideally also belts. I don't know, I'm having trouble finding the belts, but the ties were made by Tommy Hilfiger, and I think they were last season. So the only place I can find them is Nordstrom Rack. I am currently at the Irvine Spectrum. I went to the Nordstrom Rack at the Block, which it's like the 5 and the 22. And if this doesn't work, I know I saw one tie at the Nordstrom Rack by South Coast Plaza. I can get that tie so that the cult leader will have a tie. I got some backup ties. They're not solid red though. They have these blue dots, which with my 8K camera will show up. So we'll see if I can find the crimson tie. Not to be confused with the submarine movie Crimson Tide. As a director, I have to have a vision for the movie. The problem with that is it's easy to get myopic in your vision, what you think it needs to be. I found a really cool Tommy Hilfiger tie, red, by chance at Nordstrom Rack a few weeks ago. I didn't buy it because it was 20 bucks and I was wondering if there was a better deal somewhere else. Turns out there was. So when I kept searching for that Tommy Hilfiger tie, I kept getting Nordstrom Rack and Nordstrom, and those ties aren't as cheap as I want them to be. But I went to a Nordstrom Rack by South Coast Plaza, intending to go to Nordstrom Rack, and then I found a Marshall's, and I was like, you know what, why not? Let's check it out. Maybe they'll have the tie, because so far the Nordstrom Racks are not. And I found the tie I want. But it's not Tommy Hilfiger. It's Calvin Klein. So I went by the designer suit, distributor, maker, whatever, and they said they needed more information so that they could forward it to PR, and I'm not good with that kind of stuff. So I think this one's gonna require a Calvin consult, or possibly getting him to do it because he's way better at that kind of stuff. We will see. Because we needed to film on Monday and 808 is closed on Mondays, I am now at the second location, Yama's Teriyaki house in Huntington Beach. This place is crazy good and unique. There's lots of places that are good and it's easy to compare things, but when you find something that's good and unique, it's kind of like in this weird class of its own. This combines Korean food with Mexican food. And the moment I had it, my first time, I got the torta, which was amazing. I'm getting the burrito today, and my wife's getting the chicken bowl. I was sold. It was delicious. They have what is now my favorite hot sauce ever. It looks like a kind of like a tiki masala, but it's got Korean spice in it. And I'm not sharing this because of how good it is. Well, yes, that is why, but also because we're going to be filming here. Yeah, I don't want to say the date. I already did in my previous blog, but I don't want to say the date today because we actually need to film, and the restaurant's going to be open, and we got full access, and this is amazing, and this is exactly what I'm hoping for. For the record, I am not the only person who thinks this place is amazing. It happens to be today. I can't be here for it, but that there's a burrito eating contest hosted by... It'll be over by the time you see this, but yeah, this place is amazing. Sometimes I'm going to speak as if I'm speaking in absolute terms, and I don't want you to hear it that way. I want you to hear it like this is my perspective, and I'm not telling you how to think. I don't think I can do that, and I certainly don't think I should do that. I'm just telling you how I think, and here's what I think. I think the universe is collaborating with us to our cathartic purging of bad narratives and uniting us with itself and therefore each other. And it does this in sort of a spiral way. And if you look at a spiral, it looks like it goes up. But if you look at it straight on, it looks like it's just doing circles. And sometimes our life feels like it's in circles, but it isn't. Because each time we encounter the same narrative that needs to be dispelled, we are slightly different. And the loop will continue until we transcend that narrative, until we see through the lie of something to the truth of the thing. One very prominent example I have is in my process of becoming a feminist. I didn't used to be one. I didn't used to think women were fully human. It was the environment I was raised. I thought that they were some kind of angelic sex god thing. And I didn't understand at all. And I am totally wrong in that thinking. It wasn't until I started trying to write women as characters in stories that I had to actually address, I don't understand how these people think. And then my existentialism came into play, and I realized this form that I'm in, it's just a form. I don't feel like a man. I don't feel male. This is what I'm presented with each morning when I wake up. And so this is the body I deal with. And so when I applied that idea to women, realizing that men and women are fully human beings, neither better or worse than the other. And of course, if you're somewhere on either side of that spectrum or in between, like, same thing is true. That said, the world doesn't treat us the same. And so our experiences are different. One of my friends was incredibly beautiful. She probably still is. I haven't seen her in 20-something years. And I went to the beach with her one day, and she was in a bikini, and I was just chilling in my shorts, and I watched men gawk at her. And she told me that most women dislike her because most men are attracted to her, and most men interact with her as though she's some kind of sex object. The world told a story that she was beautiful, that her form, over which she had little control, was something to be desired for a variety of reasons. To sell things, as a sexual being with whom to have various kinds of relationships. And they imposed that story on her. And it's hard to resist those kinds of stories when everyone tells us we are one thing. We pretend it's true, but it's not. It's just genetics. She happened to be born with a certain body mass index and height and firm jawline and certain hair color and certain eye colors, but that's not who she was. It's part of who she was, but it certainly wasn't the limit. And so as long as we live in that kind of narrative, objectifying each other, demonizing or making holy each other, we will be in these loops until events come, and hopefully they won't be rock bottom. Hopefully it will be something that you can transcend without having to confront the harshness of the narrative, and then you'll see that the spiral is like this, progressing, changing through time until we see things as they are. And it is possible to do that. Again, I'm not imposing these views on you. I'm not trying to evangelize you. I don't want you to be my religious or spiritual follower. If you find something useful in that, use it. If you don't do it. You'll find your own path, and I'm fine with that. As long as we're not cruel to each other, I don't see any problem with people pursuing different life paths. It also seems possible to kind of expedite this process of spiraling, circling towards enlightenment. And the way to do that seems to be to become aware of the narrative that's trying to be dispelled, and to dispel it. Just let it go, move on, start deconstructing it until it stops working, until you're free of it. I don't know how much of this is choice. I know choice doesn't exist the way we think it does, but there is some element of co-creating the universe. I don't know how much of this is conscious. Usually what we mean when we say conscious is we mean the stuff that happens here in our brains, but I don't think that's where it happens. I'm not saying our brains don't do thinking, they do thinking, but it's certainly not what it appears to be when we say I. There is an awareness to ourselves that transcends our physical bodies, or rather our fourth dimensional physical bodies. But I'm not going to get into that right now. That's another video. There was an epic lawsuit between Pizza Hut and Papa John's because Papa John's had an ad campaign that said, "Better ingredients make better pizza." And Pizza Hut sued them because it implied that they used cheap ingredients. Well, joke's on them. The courts were in favor of Papa John's because it turns out they do in fact use better ingredients, and Pizza Hut does not. Now, I don't like Papa John's pizza. This is not sponsored by Papa John's Pizza. The pizza place I liked in Orange County was called Angelo's and Vinci's, and it was amazing. It was like Pirates of the Caribbean meets Mardi Gras. Amazing, but it's closed now. Anyway, I've decided that I am going to try and add some food thing to each of these vlogs. And I opened with that Papa John's v Pizza Hut because I have found better ingredients make better dinners. Tonight, I'm going to show you how I cook shrimp. I get my shrimp at H Mart. We tried buying the Costco shrimp and it hurt my wife. And that's a really fast way to not use ingredients again in my home. The question when you go to H Mart is, are you gonna get the shrimp with the head or without the head? Shrimp with the head's a little cheaper, but I think it makes up for it because I don't eat the head. If you eat the head, it's probably worth it. If you don't eat the head, it's not worth it because I just end up cutting it away, and it's about a third of the shrimp. So you're basically losing a third of the value of the shrimp by not. So I get my shrimp with the head cut off. That's ingredient number one, shrimp. Ingredient number two is crimini mushrooms. I have sampled a lot of mushrooms. I can't eat shiitake. I can't eat oyster mushrooms. Shiitake hurts my wife, oyster hurts me, so I don't eat those anymore. I now eat crimini mushrooms. I prefer them sliced. One, because I'm lazy and I don't have to slice them, but two, if they're sliced, they're already cleaned and you don't have to clean them. So for an extra $1, it saves me about 20 to 30 minutes of work. Trader Joe's used to have really good sliced crimini mushrooms. They stopped carrying them, but I found them at Sprouts. This is a giant pack of sliced crimini mushrooms. This will be enough for tonight's dinner, and it is $4.99. I don't remember what the shrimp price was, but it's market price, so that's probably going to change whenever you see this video. The third ingredient is Trader Joe's pico de gallo. This stuff is crazy versatile. I pour all of this after the shrimp is sauteed, after the mushrooms are sauteed. I pour all of that into the mix, and it makes this amazing seasoning. And I end up with almost a shrimp scampi. I also add McCormick's Italian seasoning to it, sea salt. We've tried kosher salt. We've tried iodized salt. They didn't work for us for a variety of reasons that I'm not going to get into. So this meal is about $17, but $17 for a shrimp scampi meal that makes 3 meals is pretty amazing. I saute all that stuff and then I put it on a bed of basmati rice. I figured out about a year and a half ago that the wok is a superior cooking pan, surface, whatever. And I cook almost everything I cook now in the wok. The degree to which it is better than a standard pan is crazy. I saute mushrooms, I cook the shrimp. I have made my bad attempt at, what's that thing called? Bolani?
Yeah, bulani.
The Afghan fried stuffed bread thing, bulani, but I made it foolishly, not nearly as good as my Afghan neighbors made it. And I used the wok to make it in. I cook carne asada in it. I warm tortillas in it. It's versatile. This is my stove. I would prefer an electric stove, but my landlord didn't give me the option. They decided to put tile in, so I bought an oil pan that I found at AutoZone for a backing, and it was 15 bucks. And Home Depot tried to charge me $80, and their thing cut me when I tried, their sheet metal cut me. So this oil pan is a better solution. This is the pico de gallo. There's the mushrooms. There's the shrimp. There's the shrimp shelled. I couldn't show myself adding the ingredients because my hands were busy adding the ingredients. This is the final meal. I like to mix it up. You don't have to. My wife doesn't. How is it, Mammy?
Good. Mm-hmm. Very good.
As good as normal?
Yep.
This one's gone on long enough. You'll probably see me next week.